So the problem that we have in our Muslim community today is that we have not created spaces for widows, the needy, for converts, for people who have been previously married in our greater Muslim communities. I'm Chaplain Adeel Zeb. Welcome to our series, WoRx. Today's topic is upon connecting our hearts with widows in our community. The Prophet ﷺ has said on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu in Sahih Muslim and Sahih Bukhari, muttafaq alayh, that the one who takes care of the widow and the poor or the needy, underserved, is like the one who strives for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a story of a convert Muslim woman who narrates, and she begins the story near the end of the story, where she's in her car and a policeman is pulling her over, looks at her ID and asks, "Where is your husband?" And she's very puzzled by why is the police officer asking about her husband. And then she goes back and starts telling the story about who her husband was as a person and how he used to be very jubilant and he used to be very involved in the Muslim community. He would go out, he would help people, he would be involved, he would meet families and help the families in the community. He would come home and tell his wife what went on in his day. On Fridays, he would say, "Let's go have Italian." And he didn't like Italian. He only went because his wife liked Italian. And he's like, "How about we get some pizza with the brothers, like the Arabic P and the B thing." And so that was kind of part of the dynamic, kind of joking with his wife and so forth. He was someone that was really involved in making sure that she was happy and making people in the community were also well served. And he always talked about the community has to come and work together and be together. She mentions that on his deathbed, he smiled and she was hoping that he would do the shahada before he passed away. And she did hear him do the shahada. And then he had a big smile and a grin on his face, like from corner to corner. And she said that was the same smile that he made when he came to ask my dad permission for my hand. She goes on to explain the experience that after he passed away, they buried him according to Islamic law, and she got her inheritance according to Islamic law, and everything went well. And the Imam mentioned the verse in the Quran, "Kullu nafsin dha'iqatul maut," that every soul shall taste death, in Surah Ali Imran. And so this was very powerful for her to hear as a widow in her healing. Now, what happened afterwards is that the Muslim community, they weren't very supportive of her. They would say, "Oh, if you need help with like your laundry or running errands or cooking meals, we can help you with that." But they never called her. That the Muslim women at the masjid would not make it an inclusive society for widows. It seemed like this was a private club for people who were married or for looking to get married only. And she felt hesitant and awkward to even reach out and be like, "Hey, it's Friday night. This is the night that my husband and I would have popcorn together. We would have caramel, butter, all kinds of flavors, and we would watch, G-rated movies together." And then on Fridays, she would remember her husband, right? And she goes back now to where the cop is pulling her over. She fast forwards back to this moment where this cop is pulling her over and he's asking her, "Where is your husband?" And after all of these flashbacks, she's able to concentrate and answer the question. She says, "My husband passed away." And he says, "Yeah, I'm sorry." And then he says, "Did your husband have like a white dopey and his beard and so forth?" And she's like, "Yeah, how did you know that?" And she's like, "Oh, he's such a nice guy. At the coffee shop, I spilled my coffee and he cleaned it up for me." And then he started telling me about Islam and I got interested, but I never got to get a copy of the Quran. And the widow is thinking about, oh my gosh, like she's admiring her husband even more for what he used to do in terms of dawah, like helping people, helping the police officer spread a message of Islam. And then she was worried about like how now he wants to know about Islam and the Quran, but I don't have anything with me. And then the officer notices that she needs some service done for her car. And then she's like, oh my God, not another ticket. Like, I don't know what it's going to do. It's already got, pulled over. And he's like, tell you what, my brother has a shop over here. Let me take you to his shop and he can fix your issues in your car. And when it came time to do all the work on the car, if you've ever been to a mechanic, there's like multiple things wrong and they find this, that wrong. And so they fix all those things for you if you want. So he fixes all of those things for her. And then she's like, oh my God, I don't know what this bill is going to be like. And then the officer says, your husband helped me. And I know that if he was in my shoes, he would help my wife as well. So I'm not going to charge you for any of the work that my brother did for your car. And she's thinking to myself, here I am thinking that he's trying to make money for his brother through my hardship, but he's helping me out. And that was the kind of person that she was married to. Someone who just really, emanated what it meant to be a good Muslim and a good husband and a good person to humanity and to the community. And it was at this point where, the officer gave her his cell phone number and said, if you need anything, let me and my wife know, we'll come and help you. What she also mentioned was very beautiful near the end of this story, is that she mentions that she feels some guilt. She didn't do more for her husband. And then she also even the annoying things that you don't like about your husband, when they're gone, you're going to miss them a lot. And I've talked to some people, they're divorced now, and they've also mentioned similar statements to me. Their stories about their divorces and things. They said, I used to get really upset when they would leave their clothes on the floor, but now I wish I could see those clothes again. And so it's a very fascinating dynamic in that regard, in that contrast. Another thing to keep in mind when we're discussing the topic of widows is that they have this waiting period where they're not socializing too much or dressing up or wearing makeup and really focusing and healing and resetting themselves. One Muslim author, she was a widow in the UK, and she mentions that it was at this time that I realized that perhaps two souls that are married together and one of them passes away, the soul needs that much time, 4 months and 10 days to heal from this, as opposed to a shorter period if it was some other kind of separation. I thought that was a very beautiful point. So the problem that we have in our Muslim community today is that we have not created spaces for widows, the needy, for converts, for people who have been previously married in our greater Muslim communities. For some reason, we view these people as some form of taboo and outliers in our communities. However, they are just as much or as more a part of our community, and they definitely need our support as well. The driving point that I wanted to get out of this lesson is about loss. During this era, we have all experienced different kinds of loss. And perhaps even before this or after this, we'll be experiencing more loss in our lives. Loss of close members of our family, friends, professors, teachers, mentors, people even younger than us. And how do we deal with that loss? How are we as a Muslim community offering our condolences to Muslims who are suffering with loss, Muslims who are grieving? Are we just saying one ayah of the Quran, which is good to say, but then we are leaving them? No checking in on them, no phone calls, no follow-up Facebook messages, no WhatsApp text, no visiting them. We forgot the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ to bring food to those who are grieving. They don't have time to cook. We can have different ways of, helping drive and take care of errands. There's so many ways we can help out people who are grieving. Starting support groups, whether it's through Facebook or social media, WhatsApp and there's always something that we can do as a community. We can even start those groups in the masajid. So inshallah ta'ala, I want us to kind of focus on this component of loss, saying it's okay to grieve, and it's imperative for us to take care of those who are grieving. If you found value in this video, hit that like button. And if you want more, watch the playlist for WoRx, 40 ways to reconnect with yourself and with the hearts of others. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.